Mr. Speaker, I'm very honored at this time to yield 5 minutes to my friend and colleague from the great state of California, Mr. Waxman, the chairman of the Oversight and Government Reform Committee.
The gentleman from California is recognized for 5 minutes.
I thank my good friend for yielding to me. Mr. Speaker, this administration has mishandled the situation in Iraq from the very beginning. It misled the country into a war based on false and misleading statements about the threat from Iraq. It failed to plan for the aftermath of the military victory. It assumed that we would be greeted as liberators, the occupation would be brief, and that Iraq would pay for its own reconstruction. It sent our troops to battle with dangerous shortages in body armor and devices needed to defuse remote-controlled bombs. It sent in too few troops to Iraq to provide security, leaving the Iraqi people to rely on their sectarian militias to give them some protection from the chaos. It disbanded the Iraqi army and through an anti-Ba'athist campaign gave the Sunnis a sense that the U.S. was aiding the Shiites against them. It refused to take on war profiteering, even as auditors, investigators, and inspectors generals unearthed massive graft, fraud, and abuse by reconstruction contractors. It alienated the Iraqi people with the shameful and criminal acts of Abu Ghraib prison. Well, what we now have in Iraq is a defeat. We cannot achieve the illusions of the Bush administration that we will be able to create a stable, unified, liberal democracy in Iraq that is pro-American. Instead, we have sectarian fighting, death squads, and a destabilized Middle East that threatens to be engulfed by the nightmare that we have unleashed. The administration's mistakes have weakened our fight against al-Qaeda. In fact, the war has enhanced the group's terrorist recruitment. The planned escalation in Iraq will divert more troops, resources, and attention from the pursuit of Osama bin Laden's operation in Afghanistan, and we have enhanced the influence of Iran, not just in Iraq, but throughout the region. Well, the President proposes an escalation of a failed policy. The fighting now only prolongs our losses and blocks the way to a new strategy. We are trying now to mediate a civil war, which is impossible. Instead, we are being drawn into that civil war by trying to prop up a government that in the final analysis cannot unite the country. Politically, this administration has tied the fate of American soldiers to a Shia-dominated government that lacks the authority, the will, and the manpower to stop the roving gangs and insurgent militias that have shattered Iraqi society. Instead of acknowledging these failures and embarking on a new course of action, the President gives us more of the same. Send more troops to Iraq. We need to redefine our mission and our hopes for, quote, success. Our goal should be to try to stabilize the situation, stop the killing, contain the violence. We cannot do it alone, and we cannot do it militarily. We must seek a diplomatic strategy with Iraq's neighbors and the international community. Certainly, it will take more action than just the resolution before us to bring about the policy changes that we need. The Congress must stand ready to use the checks and balances necessary to extract ourselves from the morass we face in Iraq. We can do that through more oversight. But it is also time for Congress to use the appropriations process to end this war. We should pass this resolution and make it clear to the President that we will not stand for more of the same. Give back the balance of my time.